Well, Steve, you're so early, man. Heartless Angel, Royal Crown Code, hello. How are you guys doing today? Sorry you were second. I need a minute for my brain to wake up. Morning, Silver. How are you today? What's my Discord link? It's in the description. Let me know if you can't find it. It should be the first link that you come across if you scroll down. There you are, Silver. I see you. Welcome to the club. Owl Walker? Okay. As good as any handle. Edgy Fluffy is looking for work. Interesting. I guess if you need cat sprites, or maybe not sprites, but cat art. Edgy sprites looking. I can't personally vouch for, but I mean, that's a good little thing. Do your own research, but I mean, it seems legit so far. Okay, I think my brain can handle a little bit of RPG Maker now. Just had to sip my coffee. A little warm still. That's good. Doom, 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 doom. I need to jump to the world map and start immediately working, because when the tutorial questions come in, I don't get much work done. Good morning, Smo, Valadorn. How are you today? I need to make the mine. The mine. They call it a mine. Require saws. Let me know if the music's too loud or too quiet. I can't hear it. Oh, excuse me. I had a banana. I had a banana for breakfast. It was good. Lumber mill timer. Here we go. Deep Mala. Hey, Eco Man. Do you like your art in the thumbnail? A banana? No cheese? Yeah, no cheese this morning. Maybe later. You didn't want to eat a banana on the stream? Royal, specifically, there's certain foods that you shouldn't eat on a live stream, especially if you're looking into the camera. I mean, you could. All power to you, but anyway. What's today's agenda? More cheese? No. Mess with common events, make the world map a little bit more to what I keep saying, how it's going to work. It's just make it work that way. So I need to put some more requirements on the common events that are running certain things. Make a couple new items, and make those common events consume those items on a random % chance, etc. So let's make the lumber mill require a saw, and then a third of the time consume the saw. That's what we'll do. So we're going to basically take the fishing one and do the same thing. We're going to make an item, and then we're going to encapsulate the entire event inside a condition checking for that item. And then we're going to add some more conditions that rolls to see if we take the item away. Once again, we'll be generous and say that even if the item breaks, you still get an item that turn for it. Like you produce something for the destruction of that item as well. It's not just like, well, your thing broke, you harvested nothing. I don't like it when games do that. I mean, it works, but whatever. Let's make it happen. Lumber mill, a new conditional branch. Let's check to see if the party has a non-existent item, the blank item, 44. And will need an else handler, won't we? Because now we have a parallel process that's checking for a party having an item. And if it doesn't have the item, then we don't want to have the parallel process do nothing. So we have to turn off Lumber Mill 01 timer if they don't have the thing. So let's change control switch. Lumber Mill 01 timer goes bye-bye. Turn it off. Now we take the entire contents of this and we put this in here. Now we need to apply this and go to items and make a saw. This is going to be a lumber saw. We could do hatchet, but I don't want people to be, I don't want the players to be confused with the hatchet. Like we found a weapon, the hatchet, because quite often people use the hatchet as a weapon, which we don't want to do that. We want to specifically say it's an item that's used to harvest lumber. Why is my RPG Maker screen black? Is it black? It looks fine to me. Oh, you mean the theme? I thought it was like you guys were seeing a black screen. No. I'll show you how to change that real quick. It's in the theme settings. Do you want it to change to the dark theme? It's easy to do that. We'll have to make we'll find an icon for the lumber saw. You go to, where's it at? Tools. Are you watching? Go to Tools, go to Options, and then right here you see the UI box. You can click on whatever theme you want. I like the dark theme. And the drop down selector. If you don't have a lot of RAM, you can use the smart selector, or specifically the, like, it looks like a switch or variable selector, because it doesn't populate the list fast enough. Or maybe it's CPU speed, I'm not sure, causes that to happen. Slow on some computers. Let's see if we have a saw icon. These icons here are available on Yanfly's website, yanfly.mo. Just look at the freebies section. And they are VX Ace icons converted to RPG Maker MV icons. The Dino Sprite was not working. It worked for me. Really? What do you mean it's not working in RPG Maker? I illustrated in the last episode that it worked. I mean, it only has two versions, right? A left and a right. So when you move forward, it still looks like it's going left. If you move down, if you move up, it looks like it's left. If you move down, it looks like it's going right, but whatever. I don't know what to tell you, bud. Worked for me. This could be a saw. Could be a saw. For now. This is going to be regular items, but not consumable because the player can't eat it. Let's make never and no scope. Doesn't need an animation or anything. And we'll basically take the general format of what a pickaxe will be. This is used to harvest resources from lumber mills. And we'll give it a value similar to the pickaxe. We'll say 50. So the logs it produce are worth 100. Ah, 50's fine, whatever. Gotta move on. I'll do some balancing later. Let's look at the common event now. We actually have the item. The lumber mill, the wooden log. The party has a saw. They continue the timer. If they don't, turn off the switch. But we need to check one more thing, right? Because here's an instance. The player has a saw, and then they consume it, you know, by taking it away. And they no longer have a saw. And so this thing stops. But then they get a saw again. What is it in the game that causes this event to run again besides purchasing it the first time? Which I think we need to do on the global controller. We'll make a condition that says if the party lumber mill 01 has been purchased is on and conditional branch that checks to see if the lumber mill timer is off and the player again has the saw. So if they bought it but the timer's off and they have a saw, then we should restart it. So what we're going to do is control switches and turn the timer back on. Very simple. And this is a parallel that starts at the beginning of the game in the initialization event, which we always do. There, that's our checks and balances. And there's no way to pause or the production, because saws are used for one specific purpose, getting logs, and It should never be an instance where you don't want them. Charles Perkins, yeet. What's up, my dude? Random event branch. It's not really random. It's a controller that checks to see if something isn't running, but if it should be running. It makes it running again. Excuse me. Is this stream slow? I hope not. I lowered the bitrate from 4800 to 3800 because yesterday the ISP kept booting me like 10 times. Not like a complete disconnection, but a lag spike that lasts for between 5 to 45 seconds several times. Hopefully that doesn't happen today. Ahmed says, Drift, how about setting a variable to the saw based on the number of saws? If number of saws is 0, then it says you don't have a saw. Omni Slash, how you doing, man? He says, hey, Drifty, guess what? What? Yeah, 4800, that's a little bit high of a bitrate, I agree. I dropped it to 38. When I started streaming years ago, I did 2000 bitrate. And if you tried to push more than like, I forgot what it was, like 3500 or something, Twitch would just disconnect you. Twitch would just completely disconnect you. They'd just be like disconnected because you're trying to send too much data. Now I don't think they do that. Maybe they do. Probably the cap is higher though. Do you like the anime known as Bleach? I made a shoe design off of it. You know, I've heard of Bleach. I know it's really good, and I want to watch it, but I haven't got around to watching it. You're back in business, Omni Slash. Way to go, my man. Make that game, bro. Post your updates, your progress updates in the Discord. We want to see what you've been up to. Bleach was great, says Ahmed. Yeah, I heard it was good. I heard it was really good. All right, distracted again. Not completely done with the lumber mill. So this is running 2700. 60. That's 45 seconds, okay. If we have a saw, run the timer. If the timer reaches a certain point, award the item, but we need another check. When the timer reaches a certain point, we need to do another control variables. We're gonna roll a random number. I guess we'll use a different variable for it because there's a lot happening at the same time. I don't want to double roll a variable. Saw, remove, saw remover. Saw count, deducer. What? It works. We're gonna set that to 1 to 100, a random value. Then we do a conditional branch at this point that checks the variable, saw count deducer, and if it is, excuse me, if it is less than equal to, let's say 33, we don't need an else handler because this will happen alongside the other things. If it is less than equal to 33, so approximately a third of the time, we're going to lose the saw. Gosh. Okay, I'm okay. I swear I'm not dying. Decrease the lumber saw by 1. And we need to update the number of saws the player has and update the gab text too. So somebody mentioned that we should let the player know. Ahmed said, you don't have a saw, blah, 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 blah. Which we could do. So when this turns the switch off, we can do a gab window that says you've run out of saws. Oh my god. Ah, excuse me. I'm dying. Okay, I changed my mind. I am dying. Let's do gab text and forced gab right here. As per requested. We can also update the mines this way as well. The mines. Gab text. You've ran out of item icon 40. What is it? 41, 42, 43? Comma, and the lumber mill has stopped. $44. Oh gosh. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Silver. We should also tell the player when they harvest lumber how many saws they have left, right? So let's do that. So it says you've harvested, or it says wooden log has been harvested, and we can say item icon 44. We need to do a variable, right? Let's do variable count. So variable, whatever is in that one, number of saws remaining. We're not going to use 111. That's just a placeholder. So at this point, after we consume the saw, we need to calculate. We will control a variable. We're going to set I don't think I'm using Marsha Clara or Dino Cot. These were tutorial variables. This is going to be saw count, lumber saw count, lumber mill saw count. We're going to set this to the game data of the item, the number of lumber saws in the party's inventory. And now we can reference variable 41. 41. Shadow 115, what's up, dude? How are you feeling today? I feel like I'm dying. that should show, right? And we harvest lumber, and then we get a message saying that we've harvested it and this many remain. The number of this item remaining, and if it shuts off, then it'll let us know as well. We can take this idea and put it on everything else that requires items to run. I like this idea. So on the mine timer, if we're shutting off the timer, we gotta make sure that this one isn't because it's paused. If the party has a pickaxe, da 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 da, else we say you ran out of pickaxes and the mines have stopped. Pickaxe is item number 1. And the mines have stopped for this one. That works. Copy this and put it on the fishing one too. You run out of whatever number fishing pole is, 35. And the docks have stopped. The lumber mill gets exhausted for good, or does it refill after some time? The lumber mill will restart immediately once the player has the saws. That's why we set up a global controller. It's a parallel process that runs and checks to see if we purchased it and it's off, and if it is purchased and off and we obtained, we have now fishing. So 3 conditions are met. Specific conditions, restart it. Morning, Doc Wheeze. How's your build and path, Doc Wheeze? You said you were hoping you didn't hit a wall with your, was it a Templar? LE Templar? How's that going? Okay, what other thing? We're going to do the farm the same way as soon as we're done with the lumber mill. The dying is real, yeah. Can the player harvest unlimited times from lumber mills as long as they got plenty of saws? Yeah, basically, for now. Probably be that way. Overpowered? Yeah, but it's got a timer, right? It's about making resources over time. The player can't just sit there and hit enter. It's a timer. You start it and have the items, and you do other stuff while that's making you passive items. You're in Act 8. The game's extremely hard because the bosses, the super bosses, are a pain. But once you get past the storyline, it's fun, dude. Like the maps, running maps is fun. If you need help with the last boss, let me know. There's a butthole. Can you help me make sprites, please? We did that a couple days ago. Alright, let's update the farms to work like the lumber mill and the others as well. So we'll need a new item. We'll make fertilizer. Manure. I heard somebody say manure one time. I forgot, I was watching some documentary or something. And they're like, manure, manure. And ever since then, I just hear manure. Manure. I guess we could use this bowl right here as fertilizer. How do you get game ideas? I don't know. Play a lot of video games. Be a very socially isolated child. You can't eat fertilizer, so I'm gonna say no. Healthy soil equals healthy plants. There you go. And then of course, if you don't get it, can be used in crafting and harvesting. It will have a value. It's expensive dirt. It's 100 coins for some dirt. I gave away the secret. I don't know what secret. Cow pat, horse manure, dung. The ancient fruit exploit in Stardew Valley. Oh yeah, Stardew Valley was a brilliant game. I loved it. I played a lot of it. Back in 2015, I dubbed it my game of the year. Will I play Story of Revere upon launch? Discover the project through your RPG reviews and been following the project since. Pretty hyped for it. Maybe Makura? I'm not sure. If they want to sponsor a video, I will. Which plugin should I use? Well, you should probably ask a specific question, like what problem are you trying to solve? I don't think you should tackle that as like, I need to add plugins to my project. What plugin should I add? Just keep going without plugins until you find a problem that needs a solution, and then look for that solution and be like, okay, I need some way to show a map on my game. Are there any plugins for that? Then you can look for a plugin for your map. Sprites? Okay. What are you trying to do with the sprites? Do you need them to be resized and you don't have time or the skill to resize them yourself? Use Yanfly's core engine and also Yanfly's scaled sprite plugin. And then you could just rename your sprites with the space and brackets and numbers after that to resize them with the plugin. Bada boom. Got them. Okay, for the farm, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to encapsulate the entire thing with a condition checking to see if the player has fertilizer. If they don't, then we're going to turn off the farm timer. We take the entire thing, cut it, put it inside here, and then at the end we take this sort of thing on the farm timer, on the else handler, paste it there, change it up so that it's looking for item 45, I believe it's 45, and the farms have stopped. And then we turn off farm timer. Devin Scott, what's up, dude? This also puts us in the situation where if we purchase the farm and run out of fertilizer, the farm becomes permanently disabled. So let's fix that with our global parallel. And we'll check to meet 3 specific conditions. Condition 1, that we've purchased the farm. Farm 01 purchased. If that's on, then we have to check to see if we purchased it but it's not running. So farm timer 1 is off. The third thing we need to search for is we purchased it, it's not running, and we have fertilizer. So the party conditional branch, not switch, conditional branch, that the party has the fertilizer item, which should be 45. So if we've met those 3 conditions, we're going to control a variable and turn the farm timer back on. And this is running every frame to check to make sure everything keeps running when it needs to be. It just goes right in tandem. Farm, lumber mill, the fish, the docks, the mines, the sushi chefs, the chefs, if fish 1 purchase is on. Why is this here? Turn the quarry timer on. That's not right. Oh, I copied and I didn't switch this one. Was this my early version of trying to make things turn back on? I think so. The party has food rations. Keep the timer, the town timer on. The mine is purchased and the pause is off. Turn the timer back on. We need to look at how we're handling mines in another way here. Maybe I set up some special conditions on the mines themselves. Let's check that out. I did not. I did not. Right, okay. I think we have a problem where the mines can keep running and then it'll turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off, turn off, like too much. So we don't need that happening. Let's update this one. If we purchase the mine, if the mine is not paused, and add another condition in here, if the party has pickaxe, then turn the mine timer back on. Yes. This is fine, now that is fine. The farm, we addressed that at the bottom, so we could turn this, we can get rid of this one now. If farm 1 is purchased, turn the timer on, because we would need to turn the timer on here, which we are. Yeah, so this is just an early game control that I no longer need because I have other better controllers. So I get rid of that. The quarry timer, when we purchase it, does it turn on through the event? It does, so we can get rid of that in the common events as well. And finally, when we purchase the fishing areas, does it turn on the timer? It does. So same story there. Wait, cancel that. Set. Yeah, that's right. Cool. I wonder if Drifty would be willing to rebrand. It can be a touchy subject. What do you mean rebrand? Yeah, I don't understand the question. I don't understand the motives, really. I don't think I'd ever do that, really, to be honest. I've had this name and brand for 3 years, Just doesn't make sense to call myself something different at this point. This works. I don't mind updating the logo. That's not a rebrand, that's just an updating the logo. I could update the logo as long as it still represents the same thing, you know, like maybe a higher fidelity. I've done that several times actually. When I first started, my logo was like some terrible paint version of just like I typed DG and then I like scribbled some stuff and put filters on it, and that was my logo for like months. Just said DG, and it was a very bad version of it. Okay, our controller looks right. We are requiring items for the farm, the docks, and the quarry, and the mines, and the lumber mill to run. Now we need to add those items to the shop. So let's go to our merchant. You know what I should do is take this entire event and put this in a common event. I'm gonna do that. Let's create a new common event, and it's going to be, whoa, calm down. It's gonna be 45. What I'm going to do is take from here all the way down to here the entire contents of this exactly. And paste it in here. And this is going to be call merchant. And it doesn't need to trigger because we're going to just reference it. We're going to call it from the events itself. We will add a couple of things to here. The lumber mill, lumber saw, and the fertilizer, manure. Should make the fertilizer 50. I'm gonna do that. The farm isn't done though on the common events. Now that I remember. We finished the lumber mill, right? Yeah, if it rolls low, you take the saw, and then it controls a variable to put that into the number of saws into a variable, and then it references how many the player has. We need to do the same thing with the farm. So, after the rarity check, and after the item has been awarded, no, before that, after the timer is completed, yes, okay, we do a new condition here, no, a control variable, and we are going to fertilizer count. We're going to create a variable called fertilizer count and set it to the game data of the number of fertilizer the party has in their inventory. We're also going to do a conditional branch actually on top of that. We're going to roll a random number. Deducer. That's incorrect. If fertilizer deducer is less than equal to 50. Should we make it 33? Then we will change items, take the fertilizer. Or do we need to... Should we make it so that fertilizer is cheap, but it's always consumed here? Nah. Nah. I like some RNG. A little bit of RNG really makes for replayability at some points. Some RPGs are more akin to visual novels and puzzles. Yeah, that's true. Morning, Whiteley. How are you doing? Wood tea drift. To the Moon was amazing. Perfect story, says Ahmed. It was okay. It was alright. The game was kind of boring, to be honest. The story was fantastic. Story was amazing. The actual game was kind of boring. I'm sorry. It sold very well. It did fantastic. It is a phenomenal success of an RPG Maker game. And the story was great. How about you add cows or other farm animals where you can periodically harvest dung from? That's a good idea, Ahmed. A dung beetle farm. Ecobin, how you doing? Okay, I believe our farm, I think all of our world map crafting areas are set up now. Currently, anyway. We need to do something with this watchtower. We need to make another town, and we need to make in this town, we need to make some sort of system that lets us deposit, or you know, we'll just make it require a set number of lumber. Like specific things, like you need some ingots, you'll need some lumber, you'll need some coins, and you make a boat. And then we draw light water, like this water, and we go like something like this. Like there's a trench or something, right? That you can take the boat on. And then there's like another island over here. Just another little island. And on this island right here, you can make the ship that sails throughout the whole ocean. So you have to kind of go from getting yourself, you know, become mayor of this city or whatever, and take over this city. I'll probably put it somewhere right here. and then make a boat from here, and the boat will let you sail to this island. And over here they have only one city on the island, and it's kind of a port. It's a port city where they make boats, and then and also ships. And so you buy a boat here, sail across down to here, and you make a ship here. And the ship can take you to other islands, and eventually you can get the airship and whatnot. But so we'll go ahead and start the preliminary version of the second island. Yeah, something like that. It's like a narrow trench here. This will be flavor for now. Little whirlpool. It'll do nothing yet, but maybe it'll do something later. Hey, baby. How's your day going? Hey, baby, 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 baby. Reviewing shoes sounds fun. What's the difference between these two sands? Apparently there's a difference between these two, but they look kind of the same to me. This will be like where they harvest higher quality lumber. And it's like, this is why you make the boats to on this island, because there's stronger lumber here or something like that. I'm sure we'll put it into the storyline. like the lumber over here is not quite strong enough. There's not enough of high quality lumber. That woke you up, Silver? I have 2 microphones, so it's like stereo sound. There's some auto panning based on which microphone I'm talking into. Okay, so we've got the preliminary second island. Maybe we could do like a small little beach resort. We can pretend that this sand is like beach. Take care, Omni Slash. Have a good one. Okay, we did some mapping. Got that done. Zoom out a tad. What should we work on now? Never enough enemies. One thing I was thinking about, in a lot of RPGs, they reuse sprites. They just recolor the sprites and call them the second version. So we could probably do something like that, but we have plenty of sprites to choose from. Did I make the soul stone for the last guy? Yes, but I didn't update it, did I? Kickback. Liquid breath. And Viperine tail. So this one is 38, 39, and 40. 8, 39, and 40. And what stats do I want this to have? Maybe 3 stats. It'll give 4 attack, 4 defense, 4 intelligence. So we'll say 4 to strength, 4 to intelligence. We'll also include another one in here. Slash icon. I don't know which icon. We'll say 35 for right now. And then take a look. That's 35, yeah. Endurance is what I'm calling it, +4. I hate, Heartless says, please don't do that. I hate when RPGs do that. Recoloring the same enemies in their games like 4 times. Ugh. Yeah, maybe not 4 times. Maybe have 2 variations. If we get to the point where we have so many enemies and we want to quickly make more. We've very customized every single enemy so far. They even have different strategies for winning. I think we need to beta test the game, because I've done a lot of changes without like playing the full game. This music reminds me of my band days. Oh really, Silver? You were in a band? That's cool. What did you play? And like how long ago was this? I was in a few bands too. Let's talk about music. Let's do some band talk here. I can start. I played in several bands, from school bands to punk rock bands. I've been in marching bands, pep rally bands, playing saxophone, alto and tenor, clarinet. I played in a polka band, playing clarinet. I played, it was a college polka band. I played in a Mexican music band called Estudiantina. It was also a college band. It was the student faculty, basically. I played guitar in that. I played in jazz bands. I played, when I was in high school, I played in a punk rock band. Our band name was Exit. Very cringeworthy, yes. We played Blink-182 and NoFX and Rancid and just Sublime, all kinds of stuff like that. I played in a reggae band years later. The band name was Propaganda. We put out a single album. Silver's play says bass clarinet, winter band, and I was in the pits band, language for the front line with the marimbas and gongs. So you were a marching band. Bass clarinet is so awesome. I've always wanted to get a bass clarinet, but I never got one. I bought an E-flat clarinet one time. It didn't work very well, so I think it's like in California in storage somewhere. Doc Weeze, this was like a very long time ago. This was like 15 years ago. Craig, what's up, dude? Unpro Pro, thanks for stopping by. We're reminiscing about our younger band days a little bit while trying to figure out the next thing we want to do. We added a few items, we updated some common events, we took some event data and referenced it as a common event. I also need to update the merchant selection. Let's do that. Let's give the merchant more selections. Let's give, instead of only 5 items, because we're going to keep adding, let's add a 6th item to every selection. Randomly picked, boom. But not, I don't want it to be drop only gear. So, like other stuff, but not drop only gear. Huh. You know what would be cool? If there was a different way to allocate shop processing, besides setting up the event like this. You know, if we could just make a block of text that references what's the code for shop processing? Let's look at that. No, I don't have it memorized. Memorizing code is not necessary for the most part. You just have to have good research ability. It does help speed things up if you do memorize things, but it's not required, I'd say. Have good resources. Is it shop input? Is that what I'm looking for? Shop input. Shop processing. So you're just pushing scene shop. And goods are an array. Inside the goods array, do you just include numbers in the JSON for the database? Scene manager, prepare next scene, goods, purchase only. So you would put false, true or false right here. And in this goods array, would you have to put like data items or what about if you're selling armors? Data armors? Right, I have no idea. We need to test this maybe. Scene manager to push scene shop. Okay. Let's do an arbitrary event. We're gonna make this dinosaur our shop processing. Is the scene matter to prepare next? Prepare next scene. And inside here do we include like data items? Or is it data item? Data item. And inside here we include the numbers. Let's just say like 1. And then we put a comma, right? And then we'll say false. And then this goes like this. This is probably not right. Let's see if we crash and what error we get. Want to team up for the IGMC 2018? Yeah, I don't think they're doing it. We would crush though, bro. That's an interesting idea, Devin. Bandit attacking. Mark device. That was some autocorrect. Yeah, Dejica. Gotta love that auto cucumber. The lumber dino? You made a new dino, Eco? Yeah, music brought to you by ocremix.org. Fantastic music. Check the idea I had above, says Devin. And you were talking about the bandits, right? What if the city on the smaller island you set up has a trade route and an event where every 30 minutes bandits attack and it shows that notice with the gab window? It seems kind of the town would figure it out after a while, right? If they attack every 30 minutes. Maybe they can attack randomly, periodically, without a timer. Like, obviously there would be a timer, but the timer would only increment based on an RNG factor. So there we can roll a chance to see if it adds to 1, so it doesn't add to 1 every frame. We can set the timer to last 30 minutes, but only, let's say, 20% of the time it will add 1. So you have a variance in there. It could last once every hour, every 2 hours, every 3 hours, and it wouldn't be consistent every time, which would make it seem like their bandits are attacking less on the dot. But I like your idea. That's a good idea. The enemies would also be human, and if you win, you get different loot. You choose. Though if you lose, you don't, or don't make it in the time frame, they take away resources. Could be a thing. Puka! Soda's bad. Soda's really bad. It tastes great, it's amazing, but it's also very bad for you. Stay away from drugs, kids. I want cheese. Always more cheese. Take the Lumbo Diner for the woodcut. Okay, let's look at your Lumbo Diner, Iku. What are you talking about here? Did you put it in an art museum? Where's it at? Did you put it in default? The Lumbo Dino. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Oh, Devin. Welcome to the Discord. Done did it. Done did it. Amazing art. 10 out of 1. That's 1,000%. Yeah, no, yeah, take it, please. I just added your dinosaur. We already added your dinosaur. Alright, fine. Fine, I'm going to add it. This is the Lumber Dino by Ecoman. There, it's saved in the maybe used folder. You're a bit addicted to diet soda. What do they put in it? Aspartame or something? Fake sugar? I think it's probably worse for you, to be honest. It's probably worse for you. The only diet soda I ever liked, I don't drink soda anymore, I haven't for years. Well, actually only like a year. But the only soda I like to drink that was diet The only diet soda I enjoyed was Diet Dr. Pepper. Yeah. Back in the day, they used to put that in Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper and lots of other things. They used to just sell it on the street like a household remedy. Snake oils and cure-alls and whatnot. We needed to test a dinosaur, didn't we? To get an error report. Okay, window shop by dot make item list. Fresh initialize. Okay, so a shop menu core, windows, like clearly errors, clearly something wrong. This is not the right code. Does anybody know the right code for this? Wait, maybe it would have to be after, right? Or was it before? We could say goods and create goods as a variable beforehand. I mean, we're probably just going to crash a bunch. Var goods equals an array. Wait, hello. Fingers, can you just do what you're supposed to do? Can the main character have a Super Saiyan state? I mean, not officially Super Saiyan, but I don't see why we couldn't have like a super powered up state. This doesn't crash the game, but it doesn't actually push the scene either. Why not? Like, I would expect it to at least crash. It's not pushing the scene. It's not doing anything. Yeah, I'm clearly interacting with him. See, I'm interacting now. It's not crashing. Oh, we should open up the log F8 and see what it's telling us. Where'd he go? There we go. Data item is not defined. Is it data items? Did I reference something completely? Actually, let's open a folder. Data items. Okay. It didn't crash though, that's interesting. It just skipped it. There it goes. So RPG Windows was unable to make the scene because it had a problem somewhere in make item list. Obviously, we're not setting up the area correctly. And because of that problem, Yanfly could not reference that data. Yanfly plugins could not reference that data to set up the reformat of the window, which also triggered a problem in the changing of a scene because it couldn't draw it. And then that gave us a problem with managers and other cascading failures, right? Data weapons, data armors. Oh, I know what I have to do. You have to encapsulate this, right? Like this. Yeah, maybe that. Didn't crash again. Nope, not F9. Okay, so this is saying execute data items, but that's not a method. It's not, there's nothing to execute. It's an array of values, right? So it's not that. Execute passing a single array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the function method, but it's not a method, it's just an array of data. So create a variable called goods that stores the value of data items as an array, but only 1 through 5. And then you push the scene shop. Prepare next scene. Do you have to prepare the scene before the push? I don't think so, right? Prepare next scene, because it doesn't know what we're talking about. Right? Let's try that. Like, what scene? Yeah, it doesn't know what prepare means. It's like, what are you talking about? We're not looking for that. So that's not it either. What if we say, push the scene shop and then prepare the scene for that in the same block? Let me just Google search this right here. See what we can get. Maybe we don't have to do this. Maybe we just put in like an array, because this is what this guy's doing over here. Sketchword. He's doing something different, trying to randomize it. I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking about too. But he's just setting up variable goods as an array. 0, 18, 1, and the value of whatever in 33. And then the next thing, 19, 1, value that's whatever's in 34, la 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 la. And then he's pushing the shop and preparing the next scenes, passing this. He's not referencing game items in here. This is probably going, when you do this, it's going to look for this and just assume this is game items, right? What do the people say? Okay, they go on and on about other stuff that I'm not interested in. But that's the right idea. I think. Let's try this. Pass goods is just an array, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then push the scene. It'll look for this, and we say pass in these values for it'll check data items. But how does it know data items? How does it not know data armors? Is what I'm thinking. So this shouldn't work either because there's something else I'm missing. Actually does kind of work. It's not loading anything. It opens the shop and it prepares the scene, but somewhere along the line when it's preparing the scene, it didn't give me any errors. It just is not preparing this value correctly. So I mean, it's the same thing as if I just said goods is an empty array, right? Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing that's happening. If I didn't declare goods, then it would probably say goods is undefined, right? I'm learning by messing up. I'm learning by making mistakes and getting bugged. Yeah, see, it doesn't know what goods is, so why do I keep going to my common events? So we have to define goods as something. And I keep thinking it should be data items. And then the value of something in those data items. 1, 2, 3. But we just tried this and no, it doesn't quite work. Right? Isn't that what we tried already? Sorry, let me look at chat. Maybe we have some brains, some super brains in here. Doc asks for help. Heartless is using a lullaby on him. Can't help you, bro. What's our F8 say? It's a problem making the list. Obviously. I'm using incorrect syntax. Somebody tell me. How do we set up a shop in a script call? Seems so straightforward. Let me do some more research. How to set up a shop in RPG Maker MV using a script call. Type, ID, price, override, flag, price. Ah, okay, so the goods variable has to include not just Archaea, you are amazing. Scene manager dot scene. You can do call or push. What is a dot scene dot prepare? Dot scene dot prepare. So scene manager has a property called scene with the method prepare. Really? Really? No, I don't see it. What if I type in prepare next scene? It doesn't find that either. So what if I look for a scene property of scene manager? Doesn't have that property. Scene manager dot prepare next scene is a function. Prepare next scene is a method of this object. This dot underscore next scene dot prepare apply next scene with arguments. This dot underscore scene. Anyway. I can't help you. Heartless Angel is a siren. Resist the urge to sleep. You will sleep forever. Haven't you played Final Fantasy V? You know what happens when you get to the ship graveyard, right? Goods equal this. So it needs to look like this. Var goods is the type, the ID, price override flag. What does that mean? Price override flag. Is the sun creating visual anomalies? Oh, it's like an aura or something. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure a script call for input shop processing. Bumbling along. So the type would be item, armor, or weapon, right? And then the ID would be the number in the database. Price override flag. Oh, right, because when you look at the box in shop processing, you have a price right here. standard, or a specific. So what if we just chose to put like false right there? Doesn't she say something about that? She gives an example. The type, items, right? The price, or the ID is the first item in the database. Price, override flag, say true, and the price that it would overwrite is 25. Oh wait, here's the first one. It's an array. Type, ID, price, price override. And the thing. Zero to zero. So it's an array containing a couple of arrays. Then scene manager dot push scene shop, and then prepare next scene. Goods true. You can use a for loop to add a bunch. If I were to just copy paste this and put this in a script call, let's make this guy. I don't think that would work, right? This needs to go here, and we also need to declare this as a variable. Variable goods is this, end line, and then scene manager prepare next scene, bada bada bada. Right? Is this the way? The way? No, it's not doing anything. Wait. This is not a static class. It was a small idea. Check Discord. I hope it's an idea of what I'm talking about. I mean, I've already set up a common event shop. I'm just looking at how to script call it. Is this what you're talking about, Devin? Okay, I can check this out later. I don't really need this though. Anyway, we're going to abandon this endeavor. The method I'm using now is it's running a timer, and the merchant's going to switch between what shop he calls every minute. And when it calls the merchant, it's going to pick between 1 and the number. I could actually have it pick between 0 as well, to give it the option. If it rolls 0, it gets everything is for sale. It's loaded, full loot. and it just picks, so it's randomizing it, sort of. I'm specifically saying what's there. I do want to be able to sell food rations at any point, so doing it this method gives me control. But I was wondering if there was a way to just do a script call to make this a massive randomization. And there is, I just haven't figured it out. The idea would be I create a variable that stores the data of all of the items that I choose in here from 1 to 45, skipping the ones that I just don't include that value in the array. The ones like obviously don't want like drop only items to be in that array that could be sold. And then randomly pick from 1 to 5 of those, and then specifically say food ration is always there. And then I could just say, repeat this, I would have like one block of code. So it would have like this, and then it would have like one script call. And it could be like so many different variations with one script call, instead of having to manually create them all, like I'm doing, which isn't a lot of work, right? I'm just looking for ways to improve my methods for the future. Hey Drifty, this is Catrick. I have a question. Do coders or anybody updates any outdated plugins or not? I think what you're trying to ask is do people update outdated plugins? And the answer is, if the author decides they want this plugin to work with the current version, the author will update and make it compatible. Otherwise, it's just too much work. And looking into somebody else's code, even if you're an experienced coder, you don't know what they named their methods and why they chose this, and then the structure. It's not as easy as, oh, I know how to code, I can make this plugin compatible with somebody else's plugin. It doesn't really work like that. If you're extremely good, you can do that, but is it worth the time investment to make that happen? Usually no, because you can invest hours and still not understand why they built it this way. Instead, the time that you spend trying to make something compatible, you could instead make your own version that is up to date and compatible. So coders don't usually do that unless it's their own thing. Like they wrote it, and even then, if they wrote it, it could be like, oh, I wrote this 2 years ago. I don't remember what I was doing here. And if you didn't comment your code right, that's why commenting your code is very important. So other people looking at it know what's going on, and you looking at it a year from now will know what you were doing here. So short answer, no, unless it's their own thing and they remember what they were doing and what they named their stuff. Like for example, Yanfly will update all of the plugins to make them compatible with the current version of Pixie, or the version that MV uses of Pixie, because they're all, respectively Yanfly's plugins. But is Yanfly going to rewrite other people's plugins to make them compatible? Maybe, if it's worth the time. If Yanfly feels some inherent value. Like I think that was a thing that happened with the Octopath battler system. Yanfly put in some work to make it nice and you know what I'm saying? But most of the time, no. Most of the time, no. There we go. We've updated the merchant, made it event become a common event, reference that common event in that event. Added a wider selection. And opened up the possibility to the merchant rolling 0, which gives the player the option to buy all the items that are merchant available, which is everything but the drop items, pretty much, and quest items. So 11 outcomes, 0 to 10, and it rolls every minute. It changes what the merchant will have. At the beginning, it will have everything available for 1 minute. Check the last item I sent. There is code in there. Okay. Devin. I mean, this is what I found on the forums too. But this is referencing game variables, right? I'm not using this to... I found this very code, Devin. I didn't want to just copy paste it. 018, so this is the item type, this is the item in the JSON file, this is true or false, this is the number, the item value. And if this is true, then you have to give something here. If this is false, maybe you leave that out. I'm not sure. You just put 0, so it'd be like 018 0. That's the end of that array. So we can get rid of this, right? Price override 0, false. No price override. We'll say type 1, ID 1, and goods will be an array containing multiple arrays. So we'll put a comma here, comma here, and say another array. This will be 2, 1, 0, right? And now it should take the first entry in the items and the first entry in the armors or weapons. I forgot what number. When we pass goods into this scene. So maybe this will work. Come on, where's my guy? Yeah. So 0 is items. 1 is weapons, 2 is armors. So that did help, Devin. It gave me another, like I looked at the same code in another context or frame of mind, and suddenly I can read it. So thank you, Devin. Even though I just looked at that, this time it worked for me, right? Thank you. Very nice. So, given this, let's look at how we can maybe turn that into something randomized. Let's let's do another one. This is call merchant 2. And this one is going to call this script call. So we'll cut this from here and do a common event. Call merchant 2. And in here, we can say 0, which would be items, and 2 is armors. Well, we'll say 0 again. We'll say 0, 1, 0, 2. And I'm just testing this one last time. 0, 3. 0, 4. like that. So now it should show 4 items, all in the items, but in the referencing the JSON that stores this data. So it should sell pickaxe, ore, coal, and a diamond at their respective prices, if I'm not mistaken. And it does. And because I didn't allow it to be anything to be sold in the event, I can fix that, right? If I want things to be sold, I just change this to false. Is it buy only, true or false? And we'll say it's not buy only, so you can sell things to the merchant. He's a merchant after all. He's going to flip a profit on you. Right. I can do randomization inside here without even using game variables. I can go var random item equals isn't there JS to pick a random? Let me just look this up. JS to pick a random value of an array. Getting a random value from an array. Right. I did this in a JS node thing. This guy's code works very well. I've used this one before. So we create a variable and then we give it this. We'll just use his, whoa, hello. Var rand is my array. I'm just going to truncate this for legibility. R. So var rand equals array math.floor picking 0 to 1 times the length of the array. Yeah. So now what we can do, but the length of the array, this is not going to work for us because, chill. Because it's going to pick from 1 to 102. Because that's the length of this array right now in the JSON. 1 to 102. It's 103 values. There's another way to specify pick one. Thank you, Doc. Vino says, got you covered, Drifty, 10 seconds. Yeah, I know that there's a simple little, I've done it before myself. You basically, it's a dot something code, syntax tears me apart. And you enter the values that you want. Didn't we do this in our item generator thingy? Our item is this. And we put in the values we wanted, and then we say item selected, yeah, random int, and then we use the length. So we can take this code that we used just not too long ago and use that here. So we paste this, var item is this, and then we say item selected is a random int from here. And we inside this array, we pick the values we want to store from items we want to pull. We've got Heartless Robot. Beep bop, well beep bop. But take care. So yeah, let's use this, and for goods, instead of saying items 1, 2, 3, we'll say item is going to be item selected. Wait a minute. This is going to limit us to however many lines of code we have, because we'll have to re-roll it, huh? Let's redefine it after each time. We take this, we copy this, and we do this again. We re-roll it. Item selected, var goods equal this. We have to dot push something into the array. Var goods equal, or maybe we don't have to say equal. We say var goods dot push, and we push a value into it. We're going to push this first value into it, right? Get rid of this. Call an inline. Go like this. And we do that again. And we will push another value. We don't have to say var again. We're not declaring it again. We just say, oh, we have to say var the first time. Var goods equals this. The first time. Var goods, come on, what's happening? Var goods equals this. That's what it equals. An array that contains, it's an array that contains an array inside of it. But that's all it has right now. Then you re-roll this using item length, and then we push another one. We get DJ Khaled over here to push another one. We cut this, and we do the same thing. Goods dot push that. We have to roll this again. I think I'm on the right track. So and then, you know, as long as we do this before we prepare goods, the array, we prepare the array to have the number of items we need. We might be limited by the number of lines we have in one script call. You can use multiple script calls, says Doc. Says Vino. You sent the code on Discord. Variable ID is 0, type is 0, minimum is 0, max is 0, inventory is 0. Array is an array, temp is another array, rand. Okay. For I is 0, I less than inventory, I plus plus, do, random, math.flora, random, times max minus min plus 1 plus the minimum. So you don't have a 0, right? While temp.index of rand is greater than -1, then temp I in the for loop is random. The array equals type random, right? You give it the 3 values to pass. If array.isArray game variables.value ID, we have to put something in here. variable array. You could do multiple in this setup because you're not using, for your array value, you're using a game variable that stays global, that doesn't disappear at the end of the script call. So that's cool. Change only the first line. Right, I'll have to move my JSON around, right? I have to change the database because of the for loop, it's populating all of the things from this to that. So I'd either have to move my database around or try the method I'm using right now, which is less cool as yours, right? Because you're using the game variable as its thing. Oh shoot, I'm out of time. Alright, let me try my thing. I'm gonna mess around with that, Vino. Let me see if this works for something rudimentary, and then I can use yours and store the value in a game variable so that I can do this through multiple script calls if needed. Obviously I don't need all of these numbers. I'm not going to use all of these numbers. We'll populate it with the list. Let's just say 13 and then end it right there. Or 12. So we define goods as an array that stores a single value of an array inside it, then we roll it again. And then we push item selected, because we're selecting a new item right here. So we push item selected again, and we roll it again, and then we push item selected again. And then we can cut this, roll it again, another one. Goods dot push that. Technically, that's pretty much all I can do on this one. So I select an array of the numbers I wanted to pick from, and it's going to pick 1, 2, 3, 4 of those items. So this isn't quite good enough. I'll use your method instead, but we'll do that later. I want to test this first. Let's hit OK on that. Go to items and pick 4 items. Let's say, or no, let's pick as many as we want, right? 1 all the way down to 17. 1 to 17, and then we add stuff. Okay, 1 to 17, and then we add 40 and 44 and 45. $13, $14, $15, $16, $17, $40, $44, $45. Okay. When we call merchant 2, it should populate with 4 random items of all those 20 items or whatever. Where's it at? Wool, insect stinger, leather, diamond. Let's call them again. Fresh apple, coal, granite, diamond. It seems to be picking diamond every time. It is picking diamond every time at the end. Why is it picking diamond every time at the end? Oh, because I didn't tell it to pick a random one. So instead of 4, we pick item selected. This works too. This works too. Guys, we did it. We did the coding! We did basic coding! Alright, Tasty Shroom, Diamond, Coal, Salvage Cloth. Talk to him again. Raw Fish. Ah, it picked 0! Why does it only have 3 here? Did it pick 0? Seems to have picked 0. Or salt, raw meat, salvage cloth. At least it didn't crash. 0 again? Why is it sometimes picking 3? Food ration, it can pick the same one twice. So the next thing we would have to fix is make it so that it doesn't pick the same thing twice, and let it pick more things, and stop it from picking 0. So there's lots of ways to improve that very, very basic rudimentary script call. But we did the things. I'm really happy with the progress today. I think I worked more on the product today than yesterday, for sure. Even though we got hung up a little bit on some things, I fixed the events on the world map. So these all require items. We need to do some play testing. Tomorrow we'll start with the debug test. We added an island and the concept of some other thing here. And there's a port town here, and then a ship town, another port town here, bigger port town with higher quality lumber. So you need not only logs, but like some sort of like rich mahogany or something like that. We'll add some more mines over here. We'll add a mine here, and then maybe a logging thing here, and a logging thing here or something. And then the port town down here or over here. And yeah, we'll do stuff. Guys, thank you for joining me on this live stream. I stream every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes a few minutes late. Sometimes we go over 15 minutes or so, like today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Like, favorite, share, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. If you appreciate what I do and like to show your support, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/driftwoodgaming. I would be very appreciative if you back me on Patreon. I also offer some rewards and perks there, so if those things interest you, check them out and see if you would like to support what I do here. Thank you everybody who tuned in, all of the really, really good help from Vino and Devin and Silver, Heartless, everybody who chimed in, Charles and Eco, I like your art, dude, keep doing it. Royal, always a pleasure, thank you for stopping by. Doc, I'll see you on some PoE later probably. Silver, thank you for stopping by. You're a sweetheart. RJ, you're welcome. I don't know what I did for you. I did something apparently. Unpro Craig, thanks for stopping by if you're still here. Everybody who I missed. Whiteley. Michael Posada. And the usuals, the regulars. Everybody who stopped by.
Thank you for stopping to the chat, baby.
T, thanks for coming. I know you're working right now. I've got to give you guys some of that stereo sound effects before we go. That's going to do it for this video, for this live stream. Oi! Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Driftwood Gaming. That'd be great. What else? The Discord is there. Links in the description below if you want to come hang out before and after. If you want to self-promo your stuff. Need advertisement, you want to look for work, whatever, there's lots of things there. I plugged it quite a bit, so links in the description below for appropriate things. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Ciao. Cool.